Okay.
If I may, we are RIKI Lighting. We've been working together, Kirk and I, as you just mentioned, over 40 years. And we've had the wonderful pleasure. Nikki, if you could introduce yourself.
I'm Nikki Staggs, and I've had the pleasure of working with both of these guys for about 24 years. I was actually used to be clients. I was on the client side. I did purchasing for a number of years and then joined the sales team. And I am now their national sales director.
She's the best to work with. Also, she was purchasing for Encore back in the day. And so we've worked a lot together, all three of us. It's just great. We're having a ton of our lives. We're having a lot. So we're based in Southern California, in the Long Beach area. We're about 5 minutes from the John Wayne National, the Long Beach area. Okay, so it's perfect. Clients from Vegas fly in. They take the first flight in with us 2-3 hours. They're back like it. So it works out great location. We do all of our manufacturing of our larger frames in Southern California. Now, what we'll do here, we had the fortunate opportunity to do the Blue Bar downstairs. So the Blue Bar, what we did is we manufactured all the frames in Southern California. Do you think I need it?
Yeah. They're records.
Excuse me. Thank you. So we manufacture all our frames in Southern California, and we had the fortunate opportunity to do the Blue Bar. And what we did is we brought those fixtures into our facility. We don't manufacture directly in that facility. We have locations around us that do it. It's people we've been working with for 20 years. So we came in and we actually did the hand painting of the fixture, but in our facility. We're a UL shop, so everything we do is UL listed product, and we are certified to test and to label the fixtures for UL. So this is the end result of what you've seen downstairs, but how it got started is in January 31st of 2022, which was my birthday, we were invited to come in and we were presented this rendering. And they said, what do you think? What would you do and how would you go about fabricating this fixture? So we went in and we basically told them how we would do it. And what worked in our favor was a couple of things. One, Fontainebleau Development was smart where they went and they hired a lot of former Win senior executives in design and architecture and purchasing. They were on the project. So they brought us to the table. And when we had this opportunity to do that, they explained to us why and how. The Win folks explained to the Fontainebleau people the experience that they've had with us over the 30 plus years. And the fact that our proximity is we're only 4 hours down the road. So what we would do on this, we explained how we'd go about it. And there were several concepts that they presented. And once we kind of zeroed in on what it was, RIKI started providing perspective drawings of how this would happen. And what we explained to them also is that we would have a man on site during the whole installation. We understand that there's going to be a fire sprinkler issues. There's fire codes that have to be met, and we can do all of that. And then in addition to, we worked with a company called Lobs out of New York that was it was the lighting consultant, and we got the fortunate opportunity to work with Jeffrey Beers out of New York, who unfortunately passed away last year. So he didn't ever get to see the final product, but a great guy to work with. So now once we get a little sense of scale, we started breaking down the fixture as far as how it's going to lay out and what components we're going to have. And then we started talking about what the elements are going to be. Because initially, they want to stay with the bow tie motif for the design, which we understand. We incorporated that. And then there were different shrouds, as you see on the fixture, of concepts of which way to go.
Yeah, they went back and forth on what they wanted to do with those shrouds. And a lot of it was incorporating, obviously, the bow tie theme is, a huge theme. I think they did it in a very elegant way. But they decided, because there was also the bow ties that were already going to be in the hanging elements, what could we do differently on the shrouds? And so they actually implemented the FB logo on that. So if you look really closely at the shrouds when you go back into the Blue Bar, it actually has the FB incorporated in the metal. And so the other interesting part is obviously we had to get those middle shrouds weren't going to be all in one piece. So they had to be manufactured in sections so that they could get through, the doors. And I mean, everything was under construction at the time. So it really wasn't a problem, but just to be able to hang them, have the crew hanging them. So that was a big deal. And then the biggest deal, which everyone keeps asking us about, is cleaning. How do you clean this? How is this fixture going to be cleaned? Because obviously we've got, very, very tall ceilings. We've got a lot of obstacles in the way. And part of that was possibly doing a catwalk above the fixture where you had someone come in from above and bring the elements up, clean them. And then, so that really wasn't very logical. It was... We had so many meetings about how this fixture was going to get cleaned. And
$1 million purchase to put it in.
Yes.
Not feasible.
Yeah, this would have been $1 million ad to even, and it wasn't even a feasible option.
Yeah, it's not really a feasible option. So we went through, 2.5 months of meetings every Wednesday at 2:30 with 20 plus people to decide this is not.
There was.
But we had to experiment. We
accepted everybody's ideas and
what are the possibilities? Yeah. So once we all came to the conclusion this is not feasible, or on a lot of levels, we moved on.
So these are some more of the.
Sorry,
oh yeah, sorry.
I went reverse.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There we go.
Okay, so then this was kind of part of the density of the colors, how the colors were going to play out. We ended up having about 3 different options, which Kirk will get to in that kind of process. But this is kind of a layout of what happened with those, and ended up being about 70% of clear. And then we did 30 of champagne.
15 and 15.
15 and 15. 15 champagne and 15 of the the other kind of cognac
color. Yeah. This shows you the different sections. We had to figure out how we're going to build this. And what we had to also work with is the lighting designers, Lobs out of New York, specified all the lighting from England. Wasn't UL. So we worked with those companies and they were able to get it to be UL. So that the whole fixture, every component on it was UL. And they did it for us and they did a good job.
There was a lot of coordination between the trades as well. I mean, obviously there's engineering. You've got your mounting points. When we get into it a little bit later, you'll see, the actual structural open ceiling where, they're coming down like this right here. This is actually for the larger crystal chandelier with crystal bow ties. This just shows you, this is on site, a lot of trades on top of each other. So, this is the other fixture that we did, which is going up into the retail space. That's actually made out of Italian glass. But again, there's your escalators, and then the one dome area right there is actually those other satellite, almost Saturn looking fixtures that are throughout the space. And then this is looking into where the table games go. So I know that's kind of a little bit trying to figure out what am I looking at, and that's actually the beginning of the structure for the table games underneath. So walking through. And then again, another structural photo. Promenade. Mm-hmm. And then again, it's more steel. And then this is kind of a really cool perspective because this is before, they started building up the bar, open ceiling, nothing's in there yet, just adding in all of the structural points. And then obviously not finished floor. And then this is kind of getting towards more of the layout with getting kind of that ceiling built.
What got challenging is that as we were starting to do the chandelier, we need a clean floor underneath us. They decided that they wanted to build the bar at the same time. So what we did is we were delivering product every Tuesday and Friday. We had all our skids and pallets on wheels. So it'd come in so that we had mobility to move things to get out of the way of the other trades. Plus we were able to recycle all of those. So on Tuesday when we drop off, all the pallets that we dropped off on Friday were put in the truck. So we recycled that over a course of 5 months. Now, we worked with a group here called Bombard Electric. They've been here forever. They're fantastic. I personally have a relationship from them from doing the original Rio almost 35 plus years ago. And the gentleman who ran that job for us was the #1 electrician on this project. He handled the product like it was his own, which was wonderful. So it was very smooth, and it was great. Kirk, if you'd be so kind.
Thanks, Rick. I'm the Vice President, Kirk Nelson. I'm the Vice President of RIKI Lighting. All the design, all the meetings, all the planning, all the back and forth, that takes us to this point, prototype review. It's probably undoubtedly the most important part of this process, because this is where those ideas, all those meetings, this is where we bring a reality. What we've done here and what you're looking at is it's literally a smorgasbord that we provided for these folks. And there was about 8 or 9 of the people, various design, construction, people from the client side, came to our facility in Long Beach. We had this smorgasbord set up, and as you can see, we were giving them all different colors, faceted, solid, hollow, different weights, weight being a huge part of this project. And you can see here, when you look at this one here is an acrylic, and that's actually what the chandelier is made of. It's not made of crystal. You'll see here in a moment a solid piece of crystal, which you just saw at 1.79 pounds, goes up to 8 pounds in solid crystal. So how do we get them to make this decision? First of all, collectively get them all together and to make all these decisions right now, because from here we go to manufacturing. So this is a really, really valuable portion of this process, and there's no better way to do this than to just get it all, lay it out there for them, bring in the people, and get all the approvals there. And then we go to manufacturing.
Can I just add something really quick, Rick? So, oops. Oh, hey. How you doing? Let me hold this for you.
Yeah.
So another part of it too was, obviously we have HVAC issues. So they don't have a lot of movement. You'll see there is some movement, but in the event that there could be more movement, you don't really want to have crystal up there. Yeah. So there is, even last night when I was sitting underneath the Blue Bar, you could see there's a little bit of swaying in there. So, and just due to the heaviness as well, it just made more sense to have these in acrylic. And then, I don't know if you wanted to add this, but the reason why also it went to faceted, and from faceted, from just plain, was because they have to be fire treated. The fire codes here in Vegas are very, very, very stringent, and it kind of put a little bit of a film, sort of. It was a little cloudy. So with the facets, it just made it sparkle a little bit more.
So you see at the end here, each one of these has the bow tie facet on the end. Of course, that was getting the finish down there. Then what we did was we took one of the smaller fixtures, the 8-foot round, and that was our prototype. And this, we brought this into our shop, and as you can see here, now we have the team. The young lady in the black and white at the bottom there, her name is Karina, and Rick and I worked with her on the original Mirage back in the late 80s. So as he was saying, there's a lot of experience going into this. It does take a village, doesn't it? And with a lot of experienced professionals. And what we're doing here, what the guys are doing, they're loading up this 8-footer for density, for color, for length, and varying the drop. What you're looking at there, Rick, you want to stop this for a second, buddy? What you just saw there a moment ago was, it'll probably play the video. So what you just saw there a moment ago was kind of a paint booth that had the crystal bow ties that you see here on the stage, and also those are the fixtures. We'll show you a couple pictures in a minute. Go ahead and take it here. So after we get everybody's approval, we go to manufacturing. We build the chandelier, we ship it, we deliver it, And now we have this. Gets installed, but what's going on there, Nikki?
So there's a lot going on there. So obviously I said that there's a lot of trades happening on top of each other, one of which is they are building the bar, and now the bar is elevated. And now you're going to have challenges because they wanted to have it protected the entire time. There's still so much dust. So they did not want to unwrap them. So Bombard was smart enough to actually attach strings that went from the very bottom of the protective covering almost to the floor. You can kind of see them a little bit, and they had little tabs on them. So once things were clean enough, they were able just to pull down on the string, and then the protective covering would come off. Because you have to remember now, there's going to be a bar in the middle, and there's going to be no way to access the middle of the actual chandelier. So that was pretty smart on their part. And just to kind of go back a little bit too, we also had a gentleman one of our team members on site for 5 months overseeing the whole process and making sure if Bombard had any questions or needed anything whatsoever, they would be able to go to him and he could assist in any way possible.
I want to interject before we go forward. I want to interject also that prototype review was 9 months after the initial communication, just to give you a sense of timing, all those meetings before we made it to prototype review, 9 months to the.
And the reason the project was successful is they gave us the time. We had time to design it, time to fabricate it, which gave us almost a year, and then it was a 5-month installation. Now, what happened there was when we took that prototype meeting, the reason we had to get everybody there and we laid out that smorgasbord of options is that the design kept going on and on and on, which only was going to be detrimental to us because we're losing fabrication time. So everybody who came over from Fontainebleau, their direction from the number one gentleman heading construction here said, you do not leave until this is 100% approved. And it was.
And that's typically what we do. I mean, when we do have a prototype review, we want to bring people into the shop. We want them to look at the fixtures. We want to make decisions. We do a lot of Zoom calls where we are doing the shop drawings live. So if they have questions, it's not a whole back and forth, electronic back and forth. So it's kind of part of our process. But the big question that we got is, how do you clean this? Now that you have the protective wrap is gone and they can't get a boom lift up into the bar area. There's not enough room for it and you don't want to damage any of the tiles. And then obviously you have a huge bar in the middle. So we came up with really, really, really long Swiffers. So we provided them with, at the end of the day, it was just a really long Swiffer. So that's how they end up cleaning them. And then, it was a lot cheaper than a $1 million catwalk. So.
And we brought our crew in and instructed them how to do it with both housekeeping and engineering so they know exactly what they needed to do. And this is how it ends up the final product.
Yep.
And they're very happy with it. We had to be done on July 1st, and we wrapped on, I think, June 25th. We were done. Again, a lot of credit goes to the electricians who were very accommodating, and they made things happen, and they handled the product beautifully.
Also, I just want to say that, we had so many beautiful beautiful minds that went into this design and visionaries, and lighting can be, can set the vibe, can set the mood. And this obviously is a focal point, a focal feature. And we were just really, really proud to work on this project because I think it absolutely made the space.
If I may add, every light on the fixture has its own driver. Okay, it's all DMX controlled. And the whole idea originally was they wanted to have a very subtle movement in the fixture, not a light show, but just like maybe a slight breeze of light going through it. And they tried all kind of options. And at the end of the day, the owner said, I like this level, just dim it down to that, done, no movement. So they spent a lot of money for an option that they chose not to use, but at the same time, they always can go back and do it. So it was very time consuming. Now, with regard to UL on this fixture, UL, we had to have a special file with them. We had to open a special file. They came to our shop. They saw the prototype. They made their comments and said, okay, this is good, go forward. Then when we installed the first chandelier, before we put anything on it, they came to the job site. They inspected it. They said, it looks good, continue. So now we complete the whole job, in addition by adding all the decorative elements, and then they come out one more time to look at it, make sure everything's fine, and UL actually places the label on these fixtures. Okay? And there you go.
And there you have it.
Any questions?
I need to keep understood.
How many lights? Well, what we have on it is that there's 3 forms of light. You got the LED tape around the outside perimeter. You have down lights throughout the pan. And there was a light that we never used before, which we really like, called the Stacco. And what it was, it's about a 3/4 inch tube. About every 18 inches, it has this very small pin light that rotates up and down and around. It's fantastic. So we were able to create, little sparkles of light throughout it.
Right.
Yes, they hang, they suspend. They're mechanically attached to the pan, and they suspend down at different lengths throughout it. Yeah, you want to check it out on the way out. I think you'll like it. Now that you understand what it was in the process a little more, you can appreciate what we did. We wish they would have actually done that movement with the light, because the concept was fantastic. Actually, the original rendering we saw, they were actually going to be hitting it with theatrical lighting from the perimeters.
Yeah, there was a lot that went into the lighting design of this, a lot of coordination, and then at the end of the day,
they said,
this is
just
what they
dim it
came
down
up
to
with.
7, we're good.
Yep,
So
Yep.
as long as they're happy, we're happy.
we're still going. We still have one.
Let's go ahead and show them the rest of this.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think we need to move on here.
So here's just a couple other really kind of nice beauty shots from below. And then we get into, this is a really cool shot. That's coming down the escalator from the food court area. And then we also did the bow tie fixture as well. So you can see the scale of the bow tie right there. Those are the actual crystals that were used. And this is in the rotunda, in the front entrance, I should say.
Yeah, this is right at the front entrance.
And then this is, again, the shop drawings.
Same
perspective,
process.
same process.
Same basic process.
And then, again, there's another one from the escalator. And then this one is the one that goes up to the retail area. And this one's actually made out of Italian glass. And all of the ceiling pans, well, especially on these ones, we had to incorporate sprinklers. So we tried to camouflage it as well as we could. But if you look hard enough, you can see it right in the middle. But we did it the same color as the actual pan, so it would kind of disappear. Yeah.
But I start saying,
Right. And that was kind of the idea behind it, was try to make it a little bit more decorative as possible, just because water feature. Yeah, we don't want it to be a water feature though.
everything you're not, so everything you watch is,
Correct.
Right.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Absolutely correct.
And then, okay, so then here we go. Close-up pictures of those. And then these are the satellite ones. So these are the ones these were made out of plated brass.
You'll see these all throughout the casino as you walk through there,
And the
also the
retail
second
area.
floor.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. All right. You guys have any other questions? Oh, I did find out there are 3,000 of those of the hanging elements. Rick just counted them last night.
So the project went well, and the most important thing is that the final check cleared. So we're all very happy. There's 3 days, there's 3 times in this process that it's exciting. One is when you get the order. The second is when the fixture is done and you're standing there with ownership and everybody's smiling. And of course, the third, when the check clears.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much.
time, everybody. Thank you very much.